McDonald's is kind of like the Walmart of fast food. If you're looking for something greasy at 2 a.m., chances are you'll end up at McDonald's. And that's just the thing. You don't go to McDonald's, you just kind of end up there. For me, McDonald's is synonymous with three things: morbid obesity, late night cravings, and gangbangs. During the day when the sun is shining, Ronald is enticing kids around the world to convince their moms to fill up the minivan and make a trip to Mickey D's for some apple pie and mayonnaise. But at night when the sun sets and the streetlights come on, well, that's for mom and dad. McDonald's needed someone to appeal to the boomers who were up late on a Friday having a domestic argument and needed a tension breaker. And nothing breaks tension quite like a crescent cranium subliminally coaxing you into believing that cholesterol was an inside job and making you chug some fucking buckets of grease. God, I love advertising. In comes Mac tonight, or as he is colloquially known by anyone with an internet connection, Moonman. Although I'm not quite sure if I'm allowed to say that without this video getting removed, but I don't know. Who cares? We'll see. We'll get into that later. Don't leave, please. The 1980s, a decade of long mullets and longer asses. Depictions of the nightlife were seemingly painted in neon and soft blues and blacks. A wonderful time to be an avid McDonald's fan, apparently. McDonald's was smack dab in the middle of the Burger Wars, which is a totally real thing, and I swear I did not make that up just now. Seriously. The Burger Wars was a battle for the greasy throne between McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's in the form of quote-unquote viral marketing campaigns. Wendy's had the famous Where's the Beef campaign, which was the 1980s equivalent to the How Are You That Small meme. Burger King had the Where's Herb campaign, which was an ARG for Burger Kings and Queens. Imagine if a Redditor got a marketing gig. And McDonald's had their clown, and that was really only good for making the kids fat and happy, but not their parents. So McDonald's felt the burning in their loins to create a new marketing campaign, one that would use a very handy tool that most people, myself included, weaponize: nostalgia. Nostalgia to you and I might mean those shitty AI-generated videos about discontinued fruit snacks that cut in a couple Family Guy clips to force a laugh.
Oreo Cakesters.
The way to eat an Oreo is to twist it, pull it apart, and lick it.
But back in the 80s, the ones who were feeling real nostalgic were the baby boomers. By this time, people born in the 40s and 50s were balls deep in adulthood, paying up their mortgages and struggling through their monotonous lives, looking to snap into a Slim Jim of the past. McDonald's was looking to boost sales after 4 p.m. for dinner, and they knew older people could be just the consumers that would help drive in business. So they sought out the help from a Los Angeles-based advertising firm, Davis, Johnson, Mogul, and Colombato. God, they were cramming more names in here than calories in a chicken salad. The agency came up with the idea of weaponizing this tool to create a marketing campaign so powerful it would make boomers feel something again: a clog in their arteries. They would achieve this warm, cozy feeling by using what's called a crooner for a mascot. A crooner, to put it simply, is a smooth-talking male singer silhouette of a stereotypical Bing Crosby or Frank Sinatra type. Basically a performer who could perform in a more intimate manner and really fuck the frequencies with their throats, thanks to the creation of more dynamic microphones in the 40s and 50s. Think of it as kind of like ASMR that would play over the loudspeaker in a hospice, while the Grim Reaper just had a fucking field day. They were also inspired by Max Headroom, who, if you don't know, was the first computer-generated TV personality, even though it was just a dude in makeup. Maybe I'll do a video on him in the future, but his overall aesthetic was something that these marketing guys took a liking to, since he was also big in the 80s. Next, they would set their sights on popular music from that era, and ultimately decided on the song Mac the Knife by Kurt Weill, which would later be popularized by Bobby Darin in 1959. Obviously they chose the song because the word Mac in the title is the same as their signature sandwich, the Big Mac Lamore. Not only that, but the president of the ad company, Brad A. Ballsack, couldn't get the tune out of his head for the life of him. Instead of simply gaining the licensing rights to the song, they figured it'd be better to just satirize it by changing the lyrics to make it more McDonald's-y. They were pretty much the Weird Alfred of the 80s. Alright, so by this point, they had a pretty good blueprint of what they wanted this antithesis of Ronald to be. Next would be to just fully realize the character, slap him in some marketing material, and rank in the cash. I think it's also important to note that they were working backwards, so as opposed to creating a character and then a personality, they went with a personality that they wanted, and then the character last. Since their main goal was to obtain more clientele after dark, they went with the one thing that is synonymous with nighttime: the moon. A New York Times article from 1987 described Mac tonight as a surreal crooner, dressed in black and wearing 1950s shades on a head that is a huge crescent moon, as he sits at a white baby grand piano, appearing to float high above city lights. The familiar golden arches emerge in the distance. To the tune of Mac the Knife, he belts out, "Dinner at McDonald's!" What made this such a big deal was that these commercials were a huge change from McDonald's popular daytime commercials that were filled with happy characters enjoying McDonald's burgers with shit-eating grins upon their horrifying faces. This sparkly new campaign was initially intended to be only aired in California, but Mac Tonight proved to be more of a success than they initially thought possible. In fact, one of the locations in Los Angeles set up a meet and greet with just a guy in a costume dressed as Mac Tonight, and they were shocked to see that 1,500 people came out just to meet the moon-headed cuck. Yeah, you could say he was a success. After this, they decided to go national with the TV spots and even experimented with more live appearances from Mac Tonight. This is honestly insane to me, but then again, McDonald's has since had promotions like the Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce and the Travis Scott burger that made people cream their Levi's. And needless to say, McDonald's ended up winning the Burger Wars. So congrats, I guess. Anyway, back to the Lunar Crooner and his commercials. Peter Katrolis was the director of these masterpieces and would create 27 Mac Tonight commercials over the course of 3 years, with many commercial pitches not making the cut. The man under the mask was Doug Jones, an actor, contortionist, and mime artist from Indiana. Quite the resume. He provided the slick dance moves behind the piano and really gave Mac the cool, fluid feel. And speaking of the mask, it has like actual human-like eyes underneath the sunglasses, just thought you'd want to know that. The famous sultry voice was that of Roger Bear, who sadly passed away in 2018. And my only hope is that he's floating on the juicy Big Mac in the sky. The commercials would prove to be a big success coast to coast. However, in 1989, the son of Bobby Darin, the singer of Mac the Knife, would actually go on to open a lawsuit for infringing on his father's trademark without permission. This would unfortunately cause McDonald's to have no choice but to stop airing the commercials and ultimately retire Mac Tonight after 4 great years of bringing in the late night crowd. But with anything, there's always a loophole. McDonald's didn't want to let him die just yet, so they switched to more unconventional means of advertising. This included animatronics to be installed in certain McDonald's locations during the 90s. Not only that, but they sponsored NASCAR Hall of Famer Bill Elliott with a Mac Tonight themed car. I bet he was drowning in McPussy after that. And that's all fine and dandy, but really the only way for this to work as advertising is if you're A, in one of these McDonald's locations, which kind of just defeats the purpose since you're already fucking there, or B, a fan of NASCAR, which realistically those two are kind of the same thing. And of course, I'd be remiss not to mention Mac Tonight's popularity in the vaporwave community, being used as the cover man on St. Pepsi's iconic album, Late Night Delight. He even had a small cameo in The Simpsons of all places.
Dad, that's Mac Tonight.
Yeah, well, while I'm gone, you'll do what he says.
It wouldn't be until 2007 when Mac would reappear in the form of a television commercial in Southeast Asia, this time returning as a CGI character, ditching the practical effects that made him so charming to begin with. Now here's where things start to take a real turn, and I think if you've been around on the internet long enough, you already know where I'm going with this, but I won't be the one to tell you the story, instead I'll have my buddy Manny Kudos explain it to you.
In 2007, the same year that the sweaty Bull Mac would return to Southeast Asia, he would also become popular with a new generation. A generation hopped up on energy drinks who were searching Princess Peach hentai on Newgrounds, while definitely being over the age of 18. Like a disappointing male stripper, he became known as Moonman after being turned into a meme on the site YTMND. YTMND, of course, short for yeah. That's my nice dick. A user by the name of Farkle created a video loop and some spicy words sung using a text-to-speech program to get a quick laugh. Very classic late 2000s internet humor. Yep, it was simpler times back then. This sparked a wave of Moonman parodies, taking popular songs at the time and remixing them to make the lyrics contain the sort of words that would make your pastor shit. As an example, the song parody of Money in the Bank is described as having few lyrical changes, well, apart from Moonman's name being inserted and a chorus chanting for the Ku Klux Klan. The most popular one is a parody of the late Soulja Boy's Crank Dat, and if you've been on the internet long enough, chances are you've heard this one. I hate. Look, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this song because I quite like Doplex's channel, and I don't want it to get caught up in DMCA BDSM, because for the longest time, the mere mention of Moonman was enough to get your video deemed not suitable for YouTube. In fact, a fan-made music video for St. Pepsi's Enjoy Yourself was nuked for the longest time, simply because the creator used the Mac Tonight commercial. YouTube saw this as hate speech and then took it down, but it was later reinstated after YouTube realized just how stupid that call was, which is a first for YouTube. These text-to-speech parodies would continue into the 2010s, with many songs spreading to sites like YouTube, 4chan, and 8chan, and I think we all know what happens then. Moonman, in many ways, faced the same fate as Pepe the Frog. Many claim that he became a symbol of the alt-right movement after appearing on a pro-Trump message board. The text-to-speech program that people used to create the parodies would censor any reference to the character or obscenities, and Moonman even went on to be labelled as a hate symbol by the Anti-Defamation League in 2019. Rest in pepperoni to the crescent-faced cuck.
So even with Mac Tonight's character assassination, he was kind of already dead, so it's not like McDonald's had any plans to bring him back for one more jazzy cruise around the city. And with the controversy and him being labeled as a hate symbol, it's even less likely we'll ever see him again, which honestly makes me a little sad because despite the memes, he was fucking cool and definitely set himself apart from the other forward-facing brands. He was kind of like Ronald McDonald's Shadow the Hedgehog, if you think about it. The whole vibe was just so different, and the commercial stood out through painstakingly crafted set pieces and an aesthetic that is just unmatched. So, Mr. McDonald, if you're watching this, which I know you are, I know you're a fan, bring back the Mac for one more ride. Please, I'm begging you. Thanks for watching, everybody.
It's McDonald's New Year's celebration. Would you believe 2 double cheeseburgers for the price of 1?